Hi there. Thank you so much for joining us. We have the incredible pleasure of being here with Jimmy Chimarios, who is an actor, producer, stuntman, and acting coach. Thank you, Jimmy, so much for being here.
Let me thank you so much for having me. Like I said in our previous conversation, anybody that works with the future of the world is a friend of mine. You ladies are fantastic, and I love what you're doing.
Thank
Yeah,
you. That really means the world to us. Well,
absolutely.
as I was telling Jimmy, we have lots of questions that came in from all of our ICDT kids. And so we're going to just jump right in. So
Sure.
Emma, first of all, wants to know, how did you get started acting?
Who is it? This is Emma?
Mm-hmm.
Emma, great question. How did I get started acting? Well, I started acting when I was 28 years old. So a lot older than some of the kids you guys teach there at your theater. But I started acting because when I was in grade school, I think it was grade 3 or 4, I was in a play that was called The Trial of the Big Bad Wolf. And it was basically a play that was made up of the three little pigs, and they had the big bad wolf on trial, and there was a judge, and I was the bailiff. And I remembered how much fun I had doing that in grade school. And I remembered when, the different jokes that would come up in the script, the audience would laugh, and just feeling that energy. It was such a beautiful feeling. I ended up going through grade school, middle school, high school, college, and a little bit of college. I didn't finish college, but which is something that all these kids should be doing. They should be finishing college. um, but I kind of forgot about acting, and I got into the corporate world, and I ended up getting hired at one of the world's biggest banks as a branch manager at the age of 23 years old.
Wow.
Um, and when I was going to work every day, working my 9 to 5, I would look every morning. I remember looking at myself in the mirror, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 years old. And I'm like, man, I can't do this for the next 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Same office, same thing over and over again. There was always this burning desire inside of me to do something more.
Yeah.
And I had a huge blessing that came in the 2008 financial event that happened. You guys remember that 2008 when everything kind of crashed?
Yep.
My branch ended up closing down, and they ended up basically letting me go from my position. And I had some time to think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And the first moment that it hit me like a lightning bolt, the first moment that came into my mind was when I was on stage wearing that gray suit and hitting that gavel, trying to get the big bad wolf to simmer down because he was getting angry at the three little pigs because they were calling him out on everything, and the whole audience was laughing. That moment, it just shot right in my mind, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get back into, or try to get into acting. And that was it. My best friend was Google. I had no idea where to start, where to go, what to do. I Googled acting schools, I Googled coaches, I Googled headshot people, and that's how I started. And that was my journey. And now 10 years later, I've worked with some incredible people. I've worked on some incredible projects. And I wake up every day with a smile on my face. It's a huge difference waking up, working at a bank, looking in the mirror and saying, oh man, do I have to do this again? And waking up, looking in the mirror and saying, man, it's good to be alive,
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. That's how I got into the acting. That I literally just made the decision to start, and that was it.
That is incredible. It's it's such a beautiful thing, and I'd like to think, and I do believe that it's available to all of us, right?
Absolutely.
To find the thing that makes your heart sing. And for some people it's theater, and for some people it could be being a banker. But you
Absolutely.
have to decide what it is for you.
Absolutely.
And then it's like you said, you have that lightning moment, and
Yeah.
then you became your own best advocate and you
Yeah.
fought for it.
Yeah. Totally. And the 10 years experience that I've had getting to where I am today, I have to stress this. Um, you kids that are out there, the kids that you're working with, and the parents that are supporting these kids, what age range do you work with?
So we do
Kids?
classes starting at 6, but our shows were 8 to 18.
8 to 18. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. So you really, the only person that's going to help you succeed. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people in your life that are going to help steer you, and you're going to learn from these people, but the only person that's going to help you succeed to the heights that you want to go to is yourself. You really got to take that responsibility on yourself. You're going to meet some incredible people that are going to help you along the way, but the only person that's going to have that passion and that work ethic is going to be yourself. So I really want to stress that to the youth that you work with. They really got to take responsibility for that.
100%.
They got to take that responsibility. They got to hold on to that power, because the second you start giving that power away, then you start losing your power. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's going to take a lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong. But when you wake up smiling every day, it's not hard work because you love what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So I just wanted to stress that to the kids and the teens that you work with. The only person that's going to put in the work is yourself. And you know, it's really going to flourish from you and your heart and your passion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we could do an entire talk just about that.
Totally. Let's book another time next week and let's
It's so important.
It is. It
I
really
want
is.
to hear, so when you did have that lightning moment and you started, you know, changing directions and shifting focus, what did you do? Like, how did you even start at 28?
Okay, that's a really good question. I'm gonna yeah, let's get into that. So here's the thing. When I made that decision, I came from a job where I was making 6 figures a year.
Mhm.
And I was going into something where you, especially as a new actor,
Right.
as a creator, not only actor, dancer, anybody who's in the arts, you don't know when your next paycheck's, for the majority of people, you don't know when your next paycheck is going to come. So I did a lot of things in between to sustain. First of all, I sold everything that I had. I sold everything. It was a real test to my commitment to what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I sold everything. I basically did a complete 360 on my life, and I had to still survive and pay my bills, but from a different place.
Right.
I wasn't making 6 figures anymore, so I had to downgrade a lot of things in my life. I had to get rid of the sports car. I had to get rid of the motorcycle. I had to get rid of the fancy SUV, which none of that stuff, kids, doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? None of that stuff matters. So the first thing I did is I downgraded everything. And then I just started doing a lot of research. I had to do the research to find the right people to work with to get me to where I want to go. But I had to do the research. Nobody else did the research for me. Okay, that's the slight difference of what I mentioned before. Okay, you got to take responsibility. You got to put the hard work in. And that's how I started. I used to do security for companies. I used to deliver coffee. I used to do all these little mundane jobs that were very important to me at that time.
Yes.
To get me to where I wanted to be. The biggest thing that took a shot, and that not only did I transform as an artist, I transformed as a human being. The biggest thing that took a shot, which thank God it took the biggest shot, and the biggest wake up was my ego.
Yeah.
You got to let the ego go.
Yep.
That was the biggest thing that changed within me. And that was the biggest sense of happiness that I got. As soon as I let my ego go, and that I didn't need the sports car, and I didn't need the motorcycle, and I didn't need, all that stuff. And I found myself doing what I loved. That was the biggest change in myself. So not only did I grow as an artist, I grew as a human being. And that's what I think as an artist is all about, our journey on planet Earth.
Right.
You know what I mean? We grow as human beings, and we grow as human beings through art, whether it be painting, whether it be acting, whether it be dancing, whether it be singing. We grow because those are all emotions that we're experiencing and that we're expressing, So it's a beautiful thing. To get back to the question, yeah, I sold everything and I really downgraded everything, and I did a lot of work in places that I normally wouldn't even look at, like delivering coffee and doing security for different companies and this and that. That's how I started my journey. And then slowly, I built myself up. I built my experience up. I found some people that were great in the industry that supported me and saw my passion and saw how much I loved what I was doing. And I think that's really important too. People, when you have that drive, other people see that. Yeah. And you're gonna attract the right people in your life. They're either gonna get out of your way and be like, wow, this guy's on a mission, right, or they're gonna be like, wow, I really want to help this person. Right. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's basically how I transitioned from banking to acting.
That's cool. And it's like a brand new muscle, right? Like going from
Totally.
where you wake up and you have your normal job to now nobody's telling you exactly what you need to do every day. You're telling you what you think you need to do and following the path. And then you're put in this new environment where you have to let your ego go if you want to succeed.
100%.
And you need to be open to feedback. You need to be flexible.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get no's. You know, I think you're going to get more no's in this business than probably in most, and that's different.
You know, Shayna, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've learned many lessons along my journey, but the biggest lesson that I learned is to do your research on these actors. Not how whoever is the person you want to be, whether it be Brad Pitt, Mark Ruffalo, whoever it is. And I bring up Mark Ruffalo for a reason. Do your research on these actors, because don't look at them how they are now. Rami Malek is another good example. Don't look at them how they are now and how they've won their Oscars and how they've gotten nominated for all these incredible awards. Look at them and read their biographies on how they got there.
Right.
Mark Ruffalo, the article that I read about him, 600 auditions before he got a yes. 600 auditions. Rami Malek used to work at a fast food joint in California, and he would do the drive-through, and any person that he saw that looked producer-ish or director-ish, he had his headshots behind the thing, and he would stick it in their fast food thing and give it to them out the window. No joke.
That's amazing.
So this is what I want. This is what I want the teens and the youth to really focus on. Don't focus on the awards and the Oscars and sure, have it as a goal, but focus on how they got there.
Right.
And also realize that your journey isn't going to be like that. Everybody's on their own journey.
Right.
You know, you're never going to get it done. Be in the moment. Enjoy the journey. You know, wake up with a smile every day and love what you do.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, because I feel like there's some actors out there or dancers and whatever you are in the entertainment industry that you're looking at the Oscar, and that's great, but don't make that everything.
Right.
Well, and they didn't just plop right in and in that spot. They had to do something to get there.
Exactly.
There's only a handful of people that just got
super
exactly
lucky, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's an awesome point. Yeah.
So that was something that I really had to really let that seep in, you know, and the other thing you got to do is, if you're in the entertainment industry, whatever you're doing, is you have to submerge yourself in whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fantastic time, especially on lockdown, to read biographies, to learn how to write, to meditate, just silence your mind. You know what I mean? This is a fantastic time for us to really sit back and learn. There's never been a point in all of humanity where we've had information at our fingertips.
Yeah.
You know, you Google an actor's name and everything comes up about them.
Yeah.
Or you go on YouTube and you say, hey, how do I write a screenplay? And you have all these fantastic people that have made videos for people like us where we could learn how to write a screenplay.
Right.
You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah,
it's an amazing time to be in the arts.
Yeah.
And we can't forget that.
I think you're 100% on. You know, you're talking about educating yourself, you know, and like expanding your understanding. And I think all of that, watching documentaries, meditating, exploring and experiencing different things, learning about different people's lives, enables you to be a better performer.
Yeah.
In whatever way that you are a performer, whether you're a writer or you're an
Absolutely.
actor, right? All of that is feeding your
Yeah,
ability to give to your craft. It,
absolutely.
I mean, there are so many other ways to do it too, or
There's
reasons
so many other
to do it,
ways.
but
There's so many other ways. And you know, another thing I want to share with that, you know, piggybacks on that question. When I first started acting, I started brand new. I started doing background work, not because, well, for a number of reasons. I started doing background work because I got to be on these incredible sets. And for me,
yeah,
it was getting paid to learn.
right,
I would go on these incredible sets and I would see how this director would interact with the actors. I would see the grip guys, I would see the lighting guys, I would see how all these sets would work. And there's no shame in that. You know what I mean? Especially when you're starting out. Now, if you want to make a decision going further on, then yeah, okay, make that decision. But when you're starting out, you want to see how everything works, you
right,
know, and I was literally getting paid to work when I first started out. And I love telling that to kids because just learn as much as you can about the industry,
right, exactly.
you know.
That you don't have to be the one at the pinnacle. Actually, might be, it's a different way of learning, but you're learning whether you're watching,
Yep,
whether you're in the back, like participating, or you're the center, whatever it is. But
yeah,
it's all an education. I'm having
absolutely.
a hard time getting back to our questions because I feel like I have 1,000 questions that I can ask you.
All right, and I apologize, and I go off on
Oh,
tangents, or I
No, it's
apologize, I
great.
apologize.
phenomenal. This is phenomenal. So, okay. Okay, so I know that you've done like crime, you've done drama, you've done
Yes.
action, you've done humor. Do you have what are you the most into, or are you? Do you like doing it all?
That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. I I kind of went in phases.
Yeah,
At the beginning, you kind of, well, my journey anyway. At the beginning, you kind of take on whatever you can take on
yeah,
because you love doing it, right? I really love comedy. I love making people laugh.
yep,
Um, I think there's a lot of projects out there that when you become a part of something that really lifts humanity and makes people happy, I think that's a good energy to have, especially, you know, in your community, in a country, whatever it is. If you can affect somebody in a positive way, that's an energy that emanates,
yeah.
and it catches other people. So I love doing things that make people laugh, make them feel good. Um, yeah, I love doing stuff like that. Those are the projects that I really like doing.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, that makes sense. I totally get that. There's nothing like feeling your line or your joke land with an audience, it's so
That's the bug
satisfying.
that bit me in grade 3 or grade 4.
Right.
When I heard everybody laugh, what did I say? What did I say? I think I called the one pig. I think I said it was Pompous Pig, and I said, "You need to be quiet, Pompous Pig." And everybody started cracking up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this power that I have up on this stage."
I know. I know.
It was a beautiful thing.
It,
Yeah,
it, it
yeah,
really is. It's so the concept is so amazing to be able to affect people, to be able to help
absolutely.
them feel something, to step away from their normal world, to sit in a
Yeah,
dark theater and to go inside. It's so
yep.
beautiful, and to be able to be a part of that
Yeah.
is amazing. We're
And this is why I respect your theater, because, you know, like I said, I coach some kids on my own, but this is why I respect your theater and the age group that you work with. We forget that whatever we coach me up one day. I coach her son. She called me up and she said, "Jimmy, I really want to thank you for what you're doing with my son, because he was able to stand up in front of his class and do his book report presentation without any fear."
yeah,
That really touched me,
yeah,
because I know this kid is going to go through life and he's not going to be afraid of anybody or to talk to anybody
hmm,
and stand up for himself in the most positive way in whatever he wants to do in life.
right.
You know what I mean? And this is why I think it's very important to be in the arts, to express yourself and to let you know that it's okay to express yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, that was a moment that really validated me for what I'm doing in my life, you know. And whether I have to live in a cardboard box, I don't care. I'm doing what I'm doing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because it's a beautiful thing, and that's why I respect a lot. You know, especially what you and Jerusha are doing, right?
Mhm.
Did I say your name
You
right?
got it.
Yeah.
Jerusha? Awesome. That's why I respect that, because it's a beautiful age to implement a lot of the skills that we have through you know, artistry into these kids.
Right. And
So
yeah, and we talk
kudos
about
to you
that
guys.
a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot, that you know, no matter what it is that you end up doing,
Yeah.
the more who you end up being
Yeah.
in the world is so affected by your ability to communicate and by your
Absolutely.
ability to be authentic. And it's these little learning moments that seem small, but your ability to help him get up and do that presentation gave him a big win,
Absolutely.
and showed him that he could, and he was totally capable.
Yeah.
um, and that's something that he's going to carry forever, and it's just going to snowball into more and more confidence, and that's
I
the whole
completely
point.
agree with you. Yeah. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is for us as human beings to realize who we are and how special we all are and
Yes.
how unique we are. And
Yes.
that there's 7 billion people on planet Earth, but there's not one person like me.
Right.
You know, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I would get all these people from Canada, my actor friends from Canada. Dude, you're going to LA? That's the Olympics of acting. What are you thinking? You're not ready. I go, dude, listen, let me tell you something. There's thousands and thousands of actors there, but there's only one Jimmy.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. So it's
Okay,
awesome.
I'm gonna jump back in. So Ainsley,
Yeah, let's keep going to the questions. Yeah.
I feel bad.
One question.
I want to, you know what? Let me tell you something. I booked off a lot of time. So if we got to go 4 or 5 hours, you let me know. Go ahead.
I'll keep you 4 or 5 hours if you're.
Let's answer as many questions as we can. I really want these kids to get their, because I love kids and I believe in kids. I really want them to get whatever they're searching for.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
that. Okay, so
Yeah.
Ainsley is asking, how did
Ainsley.
you get
Okay.
into stunting?
Ainsley, how did I get into stunting? Great question. Um, I had a lot of friends in the stunt community in Toronto. I trained at a school in Toronto for stunts because at that point in my career, I thought that that would be the easiest way for me to get my foot in the door.
Mhm.
And that's why I started doing stunts. Now, I've never been lit on fire. I've never done anything like that. But that was the easiest route for me to get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I can proudly say that I've been killed by RoboCop. Um, I've been killed by RoboCop. I've been killed by a bunch of other people, some gladiators in Pompeii. But yeah, once I got my foot in the door doing the stunt work, that's when I made some incredible relationships and I started transitioning over to the acting side.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so
So it's
that's
a
how
foot
I
in the
started.
door. I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So Kate is wondering, how
Okay.
do you get cast in stunting? Like, what is that audition process like?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you a couple of auditions that I had in regards to commercials where they wanted me to do stunt work.
Okay.
Okay, and these will be the examples. How do you get cast? It's pretty much the same way as if you're an actor. If you have a good relationship with a stunt coordinator who loves the work that you do, they'll hire you a lot. If you look like somebody
Right.
and you're in that community, you'll get hired right away, especially to be their stunt double and stuff like that. I actually was this close to being Vin Diesel's stunt double on Triple X in Montreal. I was just a little bit too short, so I wasn't able to.
You can't
And
put lifts in your shoes. Come on.
yeah, I know.
That's not a thing. That's not a
I
thing.
know, right? But so, can you repeat the question real quick?
Yeah. So just the casting, like, how do you audition for it?
Okay. So, this is what I was gonna tell you some examples. So there was an example. A company was putting a uh, commercial campaign together where there was a gentleman that had to ride a bicycle into a wall. So I got called in for this audition, and it's your typical audition, except you got to do some really silly things. So I had to pretend that I was on a bicycle and that I hit a wall abruptly. That was the audition.
What are you actually on? Are you not on anything?
I'm not on anything. So I would literally have to sit there. I don't know. Can you see me?
Yeah.
I would literally have to sit there like I was on a 10 speed, and I have to go like this. And that was the audition. So that's so it's pretty similar to how you would go into a normal audition, except it's for the most part it's more physical.
Right.
A lot of pretending.
Yeah.
In the physicality aspect of it. But to get cast on, especially as a stunt double and stuff like that, if you have a good rapport with the stunt coordinator, then they'll kind of call you in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It really shows how an actor, or especially a stunt double, you can have you really cannot have inhibitions.
You know what? It's one of those things. It's either going to happen or it's not. And the key is, if it doesn't happen, to know that it's not your fault.
Right.
You know, if you don't get booked for a project, there's a million. And here's another thing I learned. If you don't get booked for a project, it doesn't mean it was your talent or had anything to do with you. If there's one thing any actor, especially a younger actor, understands, it's that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it could be because you were too short, or you look too much like the lead, or you remind the producer of that TV show of his bratty nephew, and they don't want you on set. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with your talent. You know, I really want kids to understand that.
Yeah.
Just go in there and do your best, and it's either going to happen or it's not, and just forget about it. It's okay. The next door is going to open.
Right. And it sounds like you just have an incredible ability to obviously stay positive, to, like you said, like if you're not getting a certain role, that you understand the bigger picture of why that might not have happened. You know, you don't start talking to yourself about you weren't good enough or whatever.
You can't do that.
And then you have a level of belief that there's more on the path coming your way.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so Liza wants to know,
Liza,
were you scared your first time doing any kind of stunting?
I think I had to wear an adult diaper the first time I was on set doing a stunt. It was what project was my first one on? I was on a set with Guillermo del Toro, Pacific Rim. I think that was one of my earliest ones. And just being on that set with these incredible people and seeing how they work and how seriously they take their craft and how you have to be prepared to be on a set like that. You know, these are all skills that you learn on your journey.
Right.
I bet you any money there's a lot of people that you work with that just aren't ready to be on a big set like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is what I mean by enjoying the journey. You're going to learn as a human being. You're going to learn as an artist. And luck is when opportunity meets preparedness.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what luck is. So the more prepared you are, the more opportunity that's going to come your way, and the more available you're going to be to give what you know. So when I got called in to be on that movie, this is like a multi-million-dollar project. But I knew that I was prepared to do that. Was I scared? 100%. But I knew that I was prepared to do that.
Yeah.
So if you put the work in and you're prepared, you're going to have those feelings of, oh my gosh, what am I doing right now? But you know that you're prepared to be there.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I was scared, 100%.
You know, I have adults come to me who are not performers and are asking, I would be scared to go on stage to do something. Like, how are these kids doing it? And I always say, it's preparation. Like, we're in rehearsals for months and months and months. The only thing that's changing is now it's in front of people, you know, but the best you can do, which is a lot, is to prepare.
Oh, I'll give you another example of that. It's just like any other profession. If you're a doctor, listen, your first year at Harvard, you're not going to be sent into a hospital to perform surgeries.
Right.
There's no way. You're not prepared for that.
Right.
You got to go through the stages and learn and do everything, you know, so that you're prepared to be able to save lives.
Right. That's
you know?
a great analogy. I mean, theater and, you know, doctor, I wouldn't, but it's true.
I mean, it's true with everything, though. Everything you need, you know, training.
Everything, absolutely, everything. Yeah.
That's and it's not talent. It's not you wake up in the morning thinking that you can do it and you can do it. It's a muscle.
It's a muscle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so Noah is wondering, and this can be about stunt work. This can be about, you know, you as an actor, you as a producer. Do you have any like funny stories for us?
Funny stories.
Like something that went awry, or I don't know.
Oh my gosh, funny stories. Funny stories. I really got to search for that.
Right? I know.
Maybe some
funny stories.
Yeah, and we can think on it and we can come back to it.
You know what? Let's come back to that one, because I'm pretty sure I have a really good one, and I don't want to just say something.
Yeah.
I want to think about it a little bit and get back to Noah.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Funny stories. Okay.
So Bella is asking, in general, as a performer, what is your favorite part of your job? What keeps you waking up and smiling in the morning, like you say you do?
That is such a fantastic question. What keeps me going is the knowingness that the brighter I can shine, the brighter my heart can shine, the more that I can affect other people without even doing anything. And I think the more people that understand that they don't have to look outside of themselves, all they got to do is look inside their own heart and bring that light in their own heart, the more they can be brighter and to affect other people without even doing anything is doing what they love. And I love what I do because it makes me, it fills my heart with that light that I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing what you love, just keep doing what you love. And then that joy is going to fill your heart. That light's going to be building up in your heart, and you're just going to emanate that, and you're going to be affecting people without even doing anything. So that's why I do what I do, because I love it and it fills me up with that light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hope is, you know, instead of, you know, having, and you know, Drush and I were never making six figures, but we had jobs before we had this, you know, but the idea is, instead of, you know, doing what you think you should do, what everybody's telling you should do, and hoping to find joy in it, instead finding the thing that gives you joy, and then the motivation is natural.
Yeah.
To then go after it and figure out how to become successful in whatever way you deem success.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And don't deem success as a monetary value.
Right.
Don't do that, because that's the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deem success as the happiness that you have.
Right. Right.
That's being successful.
Right.
And then you're going to see, when you have that feeling every day, you're going to see all these beautiful things that come into your life. It's a beautiful, beautiful feeling.
It's really true. It's really true.
Yeah.
Well, I always ask at the end, if you could go back and tell you can choose the age, 8-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old self, anything.
Yeah.
To, you know, I don't know. I won't answer or finish the end of that question because I want you to fill it in. What would you say to little Jimmy?
Little Jimmy. What I would say to little Jimmy is, follow that feeling that you had on that stage in grade 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. Just follow that feeling and everything's going to be okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. Take life day by day and just have that feeling in your heart. and everything will turn out okay.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Everything will always turn out okay. Yeah.
That's really beautiful and really true. And I think it's so good for these kids to hear it now, that whatever it is that they're going through or feeling, there's a
And
light.
to Noah, I do, my apologies, I don't mean to cut you off. To Noah, I do have a funny story for you. When I was on the set of Star Trek, they put they put the wrong contacts on my eyes. They actually put in Doug Jones contacts in my eyes, and it was we completely flipped it. We were on set and we had to shut the whole thing down and go back to prosthetics and flip everything around.
Oh my gosh, because the continuity would have been off.
Yeah. So that's a funny story. You never want to do that.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is just insane. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so fantastic. You are amazing to be with, and it's been such an honor learning about your journey, learning about what it's like. I've been so fascinated by everything that you're saying. You're really an impressive performer and such an impressive individual. And I think we all and our kids have so much that we're going to take away from this. So thank you.
I'm so happy for that. And I thank you so much for having me. I thank you for doing what you're doing in your community, because that's how we're going to reach out amongst more people. You got to start with your community. And it's grassroots, and I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Especially with the age group that you're working with. I love it.
Thank you.
God bless you guys, man. Fantastic.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Thank you.